Hey everyone, and welcome to my yearly content creator review for 2024. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what went really well for me in 2024 as a content creator and what didn't work so well. I think it's always nice to do these kind of reflection videos and look at what you were kind of excelling at in previous years and what you kind of need to improve on for the following year. And at the moment, I'm really working out where I need to go with my content in 2025. And I wanted to kind of do a bit more of a deep dive on 2024 and talk about some of the things that really worked well for me and some of the things that didn't. And if you're an aspiring content creator who's looking at doing a similar niche to me, or who's looking at maybe posting to similar platforms to me, maybe this video will be interesting for you to kind of see someone else's perspective on what was working and what didn't. But for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Kaylee and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia. But I'm also a content creator and I started this channel a few years ago to talk about all things business, social media, freelancing, and content creation. As I mentioned, this video is going to be all about a yearly review as a content creator in 2024 and what some of my wins were for the year and also some of the negatives that came along with it too. So I personally feel like I need to start off with some of the highlights as a content creator in 2024. What were some of those things that went really well for me? And jumping straight into it, I think I have to mention here that I received the most views that I have ever received on this channel last year. In 2024, I had 387,000 views, which is incredible. Now, to be fair here, a lot of this is like a repercussion of a video that went viral the previous year, right at the end of 2023, but most of the viewership actually came from last year for this particular video. And then it kind of had a domino effect with a lot of my other videos and content for 2024. So I feel that I'm really proud still of the content that I produced in 2024. I think the viewership was great. I also got 24.9k watch time views. Obviously, this is for YouTube. I won't be delving too much into Instagram and TikTok just yet. I will kind of briefly do an overview of that in this video as well. But specifically for YouTube, 24.9k watch time hours was awesome. You know, I was struggling so hard in 2023 just to get my watch time up enough so I could try to be monetized. I remember I was sitting at like, I think it was maybe 2,000 watch time hours in 2023 for the most of the year I was kind of sitting at, and I just wasn't kind of excelling past that to kind of meet that 4k requirement. It is so hard to get monetized, I feel, on YouTube these days, and that was definitely my struggle. I had more than enough subscribers to meet that target, but the watch time was always an issue. So to think that I got nearly 25,000 watch time hours last year is pretty awesome. Like, I'm very, very happy with that. I also received 5.4k new subscribers to YouTube, which is awesome. I think I started off the year in 2024 at about maybe around 3,000 to 4,000. So to think that I pretty much more than doubled my subscriber count by the end of the year is pretty amazing. And I'm so happy with that. My goal actually ended up being to try and get to 10,000, which I wasn't far off for the year. So I think honestly, I'm not too concerned with subscriber count though at the moment. I am more focused on generating community with the people who are already watching my channel. I'm really more concerned about that than the subscriber number, but I think it's still really cool that I managed to more than double my subscriber base last year. So that was a great win. I also earned $3,839 from YouTube AdSense. So for some people, that's not going to seem like a lot of money, but for me as a small creator, and also keeping in mind that I do have another YouTube channel that I had been working on for over 10 years now, and knowing how long it actually took me to get my first nearly $4,000 on that channel, that took me years and years and years. So to think that I had managed to get this within the first couple of years of this channel basically being created, I'm so happy with that amount. And honestly, with the amount of views and subscribers that I have currently on this channel, I think that that's a great result. So my most popular video for 2024 is the one that I've often spoken about on this channel previously, and that is I posted a reel to Instagram every day for 6 months. Here's what happened. This was the video that went semi-viral at the end of 2023, and it continued being my most popular video for 2024. That video alone last year received over 200,000 views, which I was really proud of. I think it was about 202,000. So incredible that that video received that amount of views last year. I still can't believe it. And then my next most popular video for 2024 was YouTube is key to becoming a full-time content creator. Here's why. And that video got nearly 17,000 views. So again, really happy with those two videos. Like, I was struggling to crack a couple hundred views back in 2023, even 100 views at times on some of my videos. So to think that those videos even got anywhere near that amount last year was so amazing. Now, in conjunction to kind of try and make all of these statistics happen, I was posting twice a week, every week to YouTube. I think there was only one week that I missed posting 2 times, and that was around Christmas Day. I think that I didn't actually post a second video for the week, and that is it. Every other week last year in 2024, I posted twice a week, and I tried to meet that schedule as best I could, which I'm really happy that I did. I think that I can reflect now and look at some of the things that I can do better for 2025 though, not just meeting the schedule that I had, but we will talk about that briefly as well. Overall though, I'm so happy that I managed to stick to a schedule of 2 videos a week. That is not the easiest schedule to stick to, especially when you do have other commitments, which I do have other commitments. I am a freelance photographer and I do have other YouTube channels and other content creation paths. So, you know, with everything else going on, I'm really proud that I still managed to stick to those 2 videos a week. And then one of the other wins that I really want to talk about, which I'm actually so proud of, is that I actually started working with some travel brands for the first time. For those of you who are new to this channel, I have 3 different brands for social media. I have this YouTube channel, which I've spoken about already, which is all to do with content creation, business, freelancing, social media. I also have another YouTube channel with my partner Dan, which is a travel vlogging channel, and I've had that with him for many years now. I also have a travel Instagram account attached to that, and as I'm a photographer, I have definitely started to move more into travel photography and travel content creation. That's one of my passions. And then I also have my YouTube channel that I mentioned previously, which I've had for over 10 years. That is primarily a photography tutorial and retouching channel, and that's my 3rd brand on social media. So working with a couple of travel brands for the first time was so amazing, and actually being able to do something physical like go on a trip with these travel brands was so good and so rewarding. And I will talk about that a little bit more in this video because it was a goal that I had for last year, and I'm just so happy that I actually managed to achieve that one. So we will talk about that a little bit more in depth as well. And now we can talk about some of the challenges that I had in 2024, and some of the challenges unfortunately were really tough, and they did center around income at certain pockets of the year. So one of the challenges was really the overall grind and the gradual dipping of views from my viral video across the year. Once that started to slow down in viewership, it really did affect my other videos, and it did affect my channel. And although I expected that to happen, and by no means did I expect that that would be basically thriving forever and always getting views, I knew that it would drop off browse features at some point. I didn't know when, but there was a real gradual dip with that across the year. And unfortunately, because it did affect so much of my other videos and channel, it also affected the revenue that I was earning compared to the beginning of the year towards the end of the year. So that was a really big challenge that I had to face. Another really big challenge I had as a content creator in 2024 was the sudden loss of several contracts at once that I had with several brands who I was collaborating with. And that was at a time where I'd basically just come back from overseas. I was looking at recuperating some money and really saving for the rest of the year. And unfortunately, it just hit me at a really bad time. Having quite a few contracts where I was getting consistent income each month from these brands just go all at once was a really big hit. And it was very scary. It was a scary time. There was a few times there where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this with the whole income situation. But with my experience as a freelancer for the last like 6-7 years or so now, I do know that freelancing content creation is all ups and downs. And yes, moments will happen like that quite often, but it's always good to have a plan in place. It's always good to have an emergency fund, and it is always good to know how to pitch and to really reach out once things start to kind of falter, or not even once things start to falter with your income, really beforehand, and just kind of keep that momentum going. I've definitely learned over the years to kind of cope with that a lot better. And then another challenge for 2024 was really keeping up with my travel Instagram as much as I was in 2023. I feel like it was really growing in 2023 very well, but it really did become very difficult. Last year, I was focusing so much more on YouTube and a lot less on Instagram, and I think I was really struggling to keep up with that, and that's something that I'm looking to change for 2025 for sure. So now we're going to do a little content strategy breakdown and a little bit of a deep dive into how I'm going to turn things a little bit more around for 2025, or some observations as well that I've made with some of my content from 2024 and what I may need to focus on more for this year. So I found that a lot of my staple content, like Instagram videos, YouTube videos, content creation videos, they were really good staple pillar videos that people did seem to come back for in 2024. I think it's always good to have more educational videos like that, and really they are pillars of my niche. But I also found that certain themes and content that resonated with people most were really stemming from my own personal experiences, and those kinds of videos always seem to do a little bit better. I think overall some of those videos just seem to connect with people a little bit better on a bigger scale, and especially also my monthly reset videos and ad revenue income videos that I was doing, as I said, on a monthly basis. They really gave more insight into my life as a content creator and became staple monthly videos. And again, something that I think a lot of my audience were coming back for each month. They became a bit more dependable videos that people would return for. And again, they were really sharing a lot of personal experiences in those videos and maybe just resonated a little bit better with people. I do know there's a big shift on social media at the moment, and I know I've even felt it myself with the types of creators that I am watching, and authenticity is just a huge part of that. And being able to see someone a little bit more unfiltered and really sharing their emotions on certain topics and their true thoughts, I think really helps you connect better as a viewer. And I think it was definitely the same for a lot of the content I was putting out last year. And something I need to remember moving into 2025, it doesn't have to be all about the educational. It doesn't have to be all about you need to absolutely provide value in some form each video. You don't necessarily have to be thinking about your content that way. I think it's also just nice to be able to connect to people on a human level with some of the content that you make. And I do need to remember that going into 2025, not everything has to be structured, not everything has to be perfect. And again, when it came to actually analyzing my analytics, which I often do through Metricool, I've spoken about Metricool a lot on my channel before. I've worked with them on a lot of videos over the last 12 months, and I really feel like the platform is such a great tool to use for not only scheduling and planning your content, but also looking at your analytics and really revising your content, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And really one of the main stats that I look for on Metricool is the engagement rates. Now you can get engagement rates for certain pieces of content, whether that be for Instagram or other social media sites, and it can also be for specific pieces of content and also your entire account. So really looking at some of the stats from Metricool for not only on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, but it really seemed in a way that the content that people were resonating most with was the content that people could relate to personally, but maybe also had a learning factor in there and an educational factor, and they were able to get value that way as well. So I think having a little bit of mix of that type of content is a really good way to go. Again, with my monthly reset videos, I tend to kind of incorporate a little bit of both of this and a bit of goal setting as well to kind of have people follow along with that. And hopefully that actually helps a lot of people out if they're looking at doing their own goal setting. So I try and combine a little bit of that in my videos nowadays, and I will be trying to do that a bit more for 2025. But again, I really found that engagement is the key metric here, and those videos where I was connecting a bit more personally with my audience, I felt the engagement rate was usually a lot higher. And engagement really has to do with a combination of your likes on the video and your comments, shares, saves, anything like that. So even on Instagram, I found the same thing with the metrics on there and engagement rates. I really found my reels, especially that were connecting with people personally, tended to do better. And now we're really going to identify what needs to change with my content and what needs to be adjusted or improved for 2025. I believe I need more of a focus on the delivery of my content, not on the overall content output. As I said, I was really happy that I managed to stick to 2 videos a week, but also 2 videos a week can be kind of a pressure-filled environment where you're trying to pump out quite a bit of content for the year. And I know now firsthand, just because you are pumping out a lot of videos at any given time and you're really getting the content out there, it can be great in the beginning, but to do this long term without sort of adjusting other features of your videos and improving other things surrounding them, it can become a very monotonous routine. And in turn, the videos can become a little bit flat and a little bit boring. So last year really was about the output. As I mentioned, it was about getting a lot of content out there, getting a bit of a content base. So when people do visit my channel, they have a lot of content to go through. But this year, I'm hoping to bring the aesthetics and creativity a little bit more into everything again. So I want to feel creative with these videos again. I want to spice them up a little bit more. I want them to look good. And I think in doing this, I really need to just shift how I'm filming and the delivery of the videos. Things need to be a little bit different in the editing process, and we just need to focus on the overall look a little bit more, just getting people's attention and really keeping it. And I would also just love to talk a little bit about community connection, especially here on YouTube, but also on Instagram. And I have found out that I really enjoy engaging with people in my niche or similar niches, or even just content creators in general. I really enjoy this. I think it's the great thing about social media is that it is so social, and we all forget that at times. Sometimes we get really swept up in our own little bubbles and we forget to actually engage with other people. And again, this is something I'm bringing into 2025 because I found it very much worked in 2024 and even 2023, especially on Instagram. I found that replying to all of my comments and to really go and actively find people to follow, actively comment on their work and keep updated with their content was a great way to go. know, especially if they've got a similar follower count to me or they're in a similar niche. I really enjoy having that kind of little bit of community. Even here on YouTube, I think it's the same thing. It's really nice on this channel that I get to talk to people in a similar niche or people that are doing a similar type of job in a different niche. And not only does it make you feel good to engage with the community, it also is great for your own content because people will care a little bit more about your own content. And I think it works both ways there. It's definitely something to not forget. And as I said, it's something that I will bring into 2025 because I found that that worked immensely over the last couple of years. It's just communicating with people or building that community online. I think this year I'd love to be even more active on Instagram again. I feel like I've dropped off a little bit with that, and that's something I really want to improve on. And also just integrating some other ways of communication with my audience, whether that be for Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, even doing things like lives and just being a little bit more active in the community that way instead of just kind of sitting back doing the videos, sticking to my schedule, really just finding other ways to communicate with you guys and my entire audience as a whole. And now to talk about my honest thoughts on my monetization journey over the last year and my income as a content creator. So this will include both the good and bad. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I got monetized at the end of 2023, and last year I earned just under $4,000, which I was extremely proud of. I think any money that you can get from just creating content is wonderful, and luckily through YouTube that is a possibility. So I'm really, really happy of how much I earned last year on YouTube. I never rely on YouTube. I never expect to rely on YouTube for income solely because I know how it can fluctuate from month to month. So I always know that there's other things I need to be focusing on income-wise. However, I would like to improve that a little bit in 2025. Even so, I think it's wonderful to have a passive source of income there, and it is something I'd love to improve this year. I also had some really wonderful long-term collaborations with different brands last year, and I hope that some of those will continue into 2025 because I've really enjoyed working with certain brands, and it's just been so wonderful for them to support me as a small creator as well, and really seeing what's possible with small creators as well. I think it kind of like beats back against the whole myth that you need to have hundreds of thousands of followers to make a living as a content creator. I don't believe that's true. I think that there's so many opportunities out there, and I think that I'm a really good example of that in 2024. I had some really great long-standing partnerships with several brands, and I really hope to continue them this year. I think it's been a really great run for me. I would say the majority of my income as a content creator specifically has come from brand collaborations in the last year, and I think I'd like to diversify that a little bit more moving into 2025, just because, as I mentioned, one of the challenges I really had income-wise was losing those contracts all at once within the span of a couple of weeks, and it was really scary earlier last year when that happened, especially if you've got a mortgage, you're paying rent, if you've got kids. Like, it's very, very scary when that kind of thing happens as a freelancer or as a content creator. So definitely diversifying this year would be something that I would love to focus on more. As I also mentioned, this isn't super financial related, but it kind of is at the same time. And I managed to score some amazing collaborations with several travel brands last year, really big goals that I had for 2024. And I collaborated with 2 camper van companies, and actually am in talks with another camper van company at the moment. But as a small travel content creator, it was a dream. I was able to go on these camper van trips and basically have that collaboration of giving these brands content, and in return my partner and I would receive the camper van to travel in and to create the content. So it was really wonderful actually getting the opportunity to do something like that a couple of times last year. It was so great because it allows you to actually travel as a content creator, which is really difficult if you want to be a travel content creator and you don't travel 24/7. It's not always a possibility for most people, and I think at this point in my life I can't really travel 24/7 anyway, and my partner can't. So I think it's nice to be able to have those opportunities every now and then and just kind of build our way into this industry a bit more and build our contacts and get that little bit more experience, and this is a great way of doing it. And again, we managed to get some relatively inexpensive trips out of this last year, and as content creators who tend to budget a lot of our cash and a lot of our money, this was a really, really wonderful experience. So in terms of the goals that I achieved for 2024 and some of the ones that I actually fell short of, pitching to travel brands, as I mentioned, was one that went really well, and I did achieve that goal, so very proud of that one. However, over the year, YouTube kind of trended in the opposite direction to what it started at, and unfortunately I had sort of different plans for YouTube. I would have liked to have kept a little bit more of an upward tick at certain times throughout the year. Unfortunately, it really did plateau around the middle of the year, and it sort of stayed that way until the end of 2024. So that is something that I want to change for 2025. I want there to be a little bit more spice and really getting a little bit more back back in the game with YouTube browse features. And YouTube, if you're listening, I would really love to be put back on browse features because there was quite a few months there where my content just dropped off there. So I'm working that little bit harder now to really figure out a way of getting back on there. And the other goal that I didn't really achieve was I didn't majorly grow my travel Instagram account in 2024, which was a shame because as I mentioned earlier, I really did grow it in 2023 and I had a really great experience where I had quite a few reels that did very, very well. 2024 didn't really hold too many achievements for that apart from some of the brand deals that I did and collaborations. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really get to grow my Instagram account that much, but 2025, that's going to change. I am really going to focus on that a lot more this year and just giving that account a little bit more love. But overall, really focusing on the details a little bit more and getting creative again. I'm just really excited to do that and focus on the look of things, the aesthetics a little bit more, just feeling that little bit more creative with my content, I think will be really wonderful for 2025. Some specific goals that I have, of course, as I've mentioned, are focusing on aesthetics and being creative again. That's a really big one. Creating connections and building a little bit more community over here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. Bouncing ideas off other people within my niche or my community. I think that would be really wonderful to do more of that. Building my AdSense, that would be really lovely for 2025, and building more connections within this industry, I think would also be great. And just being a little bit more consistent across the board, not just with this YouTube channel, but across the board with my content would be great too. So in terms of what to expect from me in 2025, I would say new regular content and hopefully a little bit more spiced up. A little bit more interesting and aesthetically pleasing, fingers crossed. And I would also love to know what you'd like to see on my channel. Feel free to put any requests down in the comment section below. Well, thank you so much for watching this video today. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do because I'll be posting a lot more videos like this one in future. Let me know down in the comment section below how your year went as a content creator in 2024. What were some of the things that you achieved and what are some of the things that you maybe didn't but you're hoping to achieve in 2025? I would love to hear all of your thoughts down below. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell so you see all the updates from my channel. But thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.